We create and produce our own TV shows, and we would like to distribute them worldwide to as many people as possible. Streaming is something we're looking at, but it seems to have limited territories. It seems that you have to do deals in every different territory to stream from that country. An option that we're looking at is talking to Apple right now about an iTunes worldwide release. But do you have any advice or any knowledge on how to get it out there with reduce piracy?
Okay, that's what I did for 15 years of my career, actually, selling television programs. You're talking about specific programs, not a channel?
Specific program.
Okay, and you obviously want to get paid for it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty much knocking on doors, basically. Basically what you have to do is you're looking at pre-production, co-productions, or...
Already done.
You've already done them. Yeah, it's hard work. I mean, it's knocking on doors, it's going to MIPCOMs, it's going to the markets, it's going to the channels that are already broadcasting the content that you are trying to distribute to them. It's not easy. Obviously, if you were prepared to give it away for free, then you could put it up on YouTube. But obviously, you want to monetize it. It's not easy, and there is no easy answer to your question. But I can talk to you afterwards if you want to.
I mean, it's true. It really isn't an easy way to get content out there. One of the things I do every day is sell content, and it is, whatever way you can do it. One of the problems that iTunes has had is that, the music companies have not come to agreement about rolling out platform around the world. So, that means that there are only those specific pockets of places that you can use a platform like iTunes at the moment. But on the other hand, every territory does have a certain way of doing it. I mean, to be honest, the best way probably is to partner with a distribution company of some kind. The infrastructure in television is to get content out through distribution companies. So yeah, I mean, talk to Jill, knows a lot about this. If you want to talk to me about it, I'm very happy to give you some advice as well. It comes back to the content. If the content's great and fantastic, then you probably won't actually have trouble getting it out there. So I wouldn't be too down on it.
Okay, I guess I'm kind of extending on what you were asking about, but more specific to Hong Kong. I was wondering what challenges you guys have faced, if you know of any. I think this would probably be more so for you since you do have the experience in piracy and things like that. I worked in intellectual properties in the United States with music and media licensing at MTV, and I just had a few questions because it's so easy to do it there. Not easy, but I'm wondering what a lot of the challenges are that you would face in Hong Kong. Not just Hong Kong, but also being a special administrative region, if there are reasons behind that, and some other ways that you can get around that you found.
Are you talking online piracy?
Specific to media. No, not online. Specific to media as far as television and music.
Okay, we cover 17 different regions, and the regulatory environment in every single one of those regions is completely different. To give you an overview, we try and promote what we call even-handed light touch regulation, which means that the regulators basically interfere as little as possible in the broadcasting environment, but yet they impose regulations to combat piracy. And as I said, it's very, very different in each particular region, and I won't go into all of them, but Hong Kong is actually pretty good in answer to your question about Hong Kong. Sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Hi, I've just got a question. Traditionally, TV is linear, sort of scheduled service, wherein you open a TV guide and you know what's on at what time. But increasingly, people want to access content on demand and at a time and on the platform that they choose. My question is there a place still for this traditional model of TV in terms of this linear service, or in order to for them to remain still relevant? Do they still all have to move to that on-demand portal instead?
I'll answer and then I'll pass over to you. There is definitely a place for both, and this is what I was talking about before. It's offering different touch points and different opportunities to use your content across different media. There is definitely still a place for appointment viewing, as what you're referring to, where you open the TV guide and you know that the Wizard of Oz is on at 8 o'clock. There is definitely a place for that, because as James was referring to earlier, there's the water cooler conversation. There is this idea that people want to watch things at the same time. With the last episode of Lost, the example that I gave with Obama, okay, they could have shifted the episode of Lost, but they didn't. They shifted the State of the Union address. So there is definitely a place for water cooler type conversations, because people want to be watching things at the same time, and that's the reason why people go to bars and watch the final of the Australian Open or the World Cup or whatever at the same time, because there is a certain amount of group viewing. People like to be able to watch the same thing at the same time, but people might not get home at 8 o'clock to watch The Wizard of Oz, so they want to see it some other time. So but that's why we have video on demand. We have catch-up TV. We have options where people can watch it at a different time. So I think both can coexist quite easily together.
Look, I think one of the great things about television is that you can be lazy. You can just, come home after a hard day at work and you just slump in front of the screen and just watch it all happen in front of you. And, I still do that, and I love to browse social media, I love to browse the internet as well. But when I come home and I'm exhausted, I just want to sit there and know that there's going to be something good that I can watch. And I think that is one of the things that television really still offers. In a way, it's a bit like a radio station. Somebody picks out the songs and you listen to them, and then you hear good new stuff, which you probably wouldn't know about to go and find to start with. So it is about sort of curating the stuff in some kind of order, and that still has quite a value.
I have a question that kind of borders on a couple of different things. One is multi-regional content. I think this concept that consumers ultimately are going to want the content that they want, where they want it, when they want it. Of course, this, video on demand, VOD is this multi-screen thing to be able to connect. But at the end of the day, I am still a consumer of trying to pass my time in the way that I want to, right? So I guess there's so many different markets now. There's so many different time zones. Like the previous question about the traditional scheduling model. Now I want this just in time. I want it just for me. I want it tailor-made. But at the end of the day, what do people really want? Yes, they want the content. What to them? They want to know what's trending. They want to be on the bandwagon. I also want to know, find my own little niche that I can feel special about consuming the content that I consume as well. At the same time, I don't want to pay for content a lot of times. There are a lot of people, I won't say me, but as me, paying for content is, I think, evolving as well, right? We talked about a little advertising, and subliminal things, the Jennifer Aniston thing. How can the content producers find new ways to introduce content in which people enjoy and maybe not put the bill with the end consumer? And how can we subsidize content in which people like, which people can have anytime they want, and traditional and new mediums? And how can we make this happen? But I guess my question is, when we're dealing with piracy, with things like BitTorrent and things like this, the Pirate Bay, what's not on the internet for just 2 clicks away? So in the future of television, would you? Okay, I'm going to take it one step further. I'm sorry, it's a rambling question, but at the end of the day, one of the things that I feel that the content producers and the content providers have is the niche content, which maybe other people can't find. If somebody clicks on the internet, searches the Pirate Bay for something and they can't find it, where are they then left to go? If it's not there, if it's not mainstream enough. I saw a really funny thing. Hipsters are the new thing, right? And we have to in the TV industry, the new trends have to really, people have to stay on top of things. So what are the critical masses which are produced that prevail people like myself to consume new content? the periphery of this content still has kind of a niche market in itself. So I guess my question is, in the world in which almost everything is accessible, but not everything is accessible, is there new ways in which the future of television can pioneer to still make content accessible, affordable to the people in which are not, well, universally accessible, universally affordable to non-traditional and traditional audiences alike?
What? Well, I mean, basically you want everything for free, from what I understand. At any time, you want it all the time, any time, and you want it for free?
It's 2012. What's the future?
Well, nothing's free.
Nothing, yeah.
You will pay.
Well,
I guess what he's trying to say is with sites like UK Nova, with BitTorrent, you can pretty much get any content you want anytime because it's there. That's what I'm trying to say. How do you...
There are alternate avenues in order for people to have content in which you all make a living producing and selling and licensing and all these sort of things. So I'm wondering, in the future of TV, this is the reality. This is how the game is played now. So all I'm trying to do is ground it a little bit and say, now consumers are less inclined to pay for content or even consume content they think that they are being exploited in taking. And where does it lead us?
But Matthew, I think the point here is that we absolutely understand that consumers don't want to pay for content. And, we see that particularly in mainland China. Trying to get people to pay for content in mainland China is almost impossible now. We as broadcasters, call us what you like, producers of content, have to find new models to get that money, and almost inevitably it's going to be some kind of advertising model. But the most important thing for broadcasters and in our places is that we make it easy for people. The reason that things like UK Nova and all of these other people are out there are good, successful is because people can get the content from there. But actually, sometimes it's not all that difficult, all that easy to get BitTorrent content, for instance. There are plenty of opportunities for us to make fantastic platforms. Actually, iTunes is a pretty good platform. For those of you who can use it, it's a pretty good platform. You just click on it and you've got it. And actually, then you will be prepared to pay for it because you've got it just like that. I mean, look, like anybody, I'm interested in music. I download bits of music. And I'll search for something, and if I can get it, then I'll just download it. But you know what? I can click on iTunes, and I can just get it in seconds. So I'd rather do that. It's easier, it's quicker. So we have to create better platforms, better ways of delivering content, so that people have a much better experience and they get the thing really, really quickly. And at the same time, we have to create models of advertising that when they download something, that immediately they're watching a 10-second ad and then they're onto the piece of content. We've made our buck at the top of the piece and they're on. Nobody minds watching a 10-second ad. If it's 30 seconds, maybe they get annoyed, but 10 seconds we get through it. We've got to do that sort of thing.